Welcome all to the July Three Blind Mice Invitational. This month, the Hot Wheels Porsche 917LH casting was chosen, and here's where I started. I actually managed to find one in a box of stuff. I didn't even know I had it. So, luckily, I didn't have to go out and get one. And here we go. I thought about this for, I don't know, a few days before actually getting started. So I basically sat this car on my desk while I was working and stared at it and stared at it and stared at it. And I don't know, maybe three or four different ideas popped into my head. I actually contemplated doing something with the wing on the back, which was fleeting because I didn't really feel like getting into anything crazy. I thought about maybe doing some sort of addition um, with some polystyrene, and that was fleeting. And then I thought, I think Hot Wheels actually made a red line Porsche 917, not an LH. I don't know what the LH stands for. I didn't know if they made an LH back in the day, but I was pretty sure that they made a red line with Spectraflame paint. And sure enough, I checked the online red line guide, and they did indeed do a casting of a Porsche 917. You can see year of production was 1970 in U.S. and Hong Kong. So that brought me to dig through my redline box of junkers. And sure enough, I don't have a complete one, but I have one. It's seen better days. And if I can procure the tail section for that model, that'll be something that I keep my eyes out for. If anybody watching happens to have one of these and junked, maybe we can come up with a trade-off because I'd really like to um, restore this one and create it as a before, and after tribute. So the idea after I thought, well, I think they might have created one of these as a red line. Um, it made my job much easier to do for this invitational, and I thought, you know what? If they created, if this was 1970 and this current casting that is now in the goop of doom was around, what would they have done? What would have Hot Wheels done to create a red line version of this? So that's basically where I went. So not to spoil anything, but you're basically going to see a red line version of Spectraflame with this car. Um, and here again, I'm using my epoxy black and a rattle can to do the base. I'm really in love with this stuff. If you watch the last couple of videos where I've used it, it's amazing. I just love the way it looks and the way it hardens. So here's our base. Um, After paint stripping, don't forget to wear your eye protection. Very important. So in short for this, I just wanted to polish the body up as best I could to see if it would actually bring up some luster. And to my surprise, it was very nice. So I just polished it up. I didn't have to dip it uh, in any of the in the zinc electroplating. So I just polished this up, and there was one spot on the wing that I don't know if it was flashing or a casting mark. It just had a very thin line at the top, and I ended up sanding and filing just to get it smooth. there were a couple other spots that just kind of really were for a brand new casting. It just kind of had these little pitting marks, and I figured if I was going to do Spectraflame on this, I'd better get those marks out. Otherwise, I wouldn't be happy. So here I'm just filing that very thin line to make that wing smooth. And as you can see, there's a couple of different grits of sandpaper there in little strips, a couple of files. And it just took my time. I wanted to. I didn't want to spend a ton of time on this, but I also didn't want to make just join the crowd and have something to submit. I wanted to make it look pretty nice, and I took the extra time to get rid of the things that I knew would bother me and probably would bother you too as viewers. I always say that we spend so much time doing this that you might as well take the extra time to do it right. If there's something there that bothers you and knows it, you know it's going to bother you when you're done, then you should absolutely take care of it. So I'm taking care of these flashing flash points on the casting. Um, there were just some rough spots. They weren't very smooth, which is odd. You would think for a newer casting. I guess maybe as the molds, how they make these, maybe the molds get used and worn. Um, Maybe the QC isn't there either. Who knows? But you can see I'm still sanding and filing, sanding. I eventually get it down to where I was happy. And as usual, I'm not showing my paint booth work. There's so many guys out there that really do great paint work. I usually tend to not. But I chose a green Spectraflame from the Redline shop, and I ordered these decals. They were from another model. I don't recall the model. Um, but back in the day, as you know, when you bought a Hot Wheels car that had the decals with it, they were peel and stick. They were they were kind of flexible. They're like a vinyl type or plastic type decal. So in keeping with the tradition of the red line, I decided to order these decals. They actually turned out to work in my favor. I didn't know if they were going to suit this vehicle, but they did. So that's about 3 or 4 coats of the Redline Shop green. I let it totally sit for almost 2 days. I let it dry. But the activator in that stuff, it dries hard probably within the first 24 hours. I just wanted to make sure I let it sit before I put these decals on because as you can see, I knew I may have to reposition. I didn't want to pull paint and have to start all over. So, ounce of prevention. I felt I'd be safe letting it sit for a couple of days before I started this. So painstakingly and a little nervously positioning this racing stripe. Sadly, if you can see the chassis, I'm sorry, the bottom half, the base of the car, I did not have any real riders with a red line stripe, so I went with what I had, and I'm actually still pleased with it. I would have rather had a red line stripe on the wheel, but sadly I do not, but the vehicle still looks great, and I'm really excited to see what everybody else comes up with. This is a really cool thing that the Three Blind Mice do, and inviting all of us in. As long as we have a casting and can enjoy ourselves doing it, we are free to join in the fun. So, yeah, I figured I'd just let this run in real time. I didn't bother fast forwarding this because This is some fiddly stuff here. If you ever end up going to order these decals from the Redline shop, these reproductions, you could be in for a little test of will, and it may make your hair on the back of your neck stand up because you don't want to ruin anything. So that's why you see me out there with the precision tweezers and making sure I don't rip up any of the finish that I laid down. So this is all you're going to see for the remainder is decals and assembly. So if you want to fast forward, I mean, there's no magic going on here unless you want to watch this process and see how I did. And this is probably the most boring video to date that I've done. But you can see positioning some of this is can be a little hairy. And you want to get it to where you're happy. Always where you're happy. You know, they're never going to be 1000% spot on, especially, dealing with these scale sizes. And we just want to do the best we can. So it's all I shoot for. I don't shoot for perfection. I shoot for, solid results. I think that's about all of us can shoot for. I mean, I see some great stuff come out. There's some guys out there that do some ridiculous custom work, and you just know that they're spending ample amounts of time, but what they create is spectacular. So this was really a good call. I never really set my eyes on some of these exotics or these Grand Prix race cars. Um, I'm a muscle car guy. General Motors, Chevy, Pontiac, Oldsmobile guy, Buick. Um, foreign speedsters and things like that really aren't my bag, but um, got to open your brain and your mind once in a while. So this was a cool test for just to see what I could come up with and if I enjoyed it and whether or not I liked the end result. I am ecstatic with the end result. I can't. Maybe it's just the green Spectre Flame that just catches my eye. But when this is finally assembled and you see it on the and you see it spinning on the rotisserie at the end, and the way the light shines through that paint, just really blows me away. How something so simple could be so eye catching. And here we are with the reassembly. The real riders I had, or that are on the car, were they actually have a chrome rim, like a beauty ring, if you will, with black inners, and that's really it. I kept it simple. After I researched and made sure that they did make a red line back in 1970 of the 917, I said, well, this is definitely the way I got to go. Let's pay homage to Redline and Spectre Flame and the history, and made my life easy, really. And there she is. I ended up taking a Q-tip and make sure that because there's like an airfoil or an air duct on the back, and I made sure that the decal was pressed firmly in that spot and in the rear deck panel here. Wouldn't it be cool if Hot Wheels actually made one of these today with the little decal sheet in it, and then you could customize it? I think it would be cool. I would certainly buy them. So I'm just smoothing this out, getting any air bubbles out, and making sure the position and the modeling lines, everything sticks. there she is. And here's me trying to find the center of the frame. I just think it's awesome looking. And I was lucky enough that I didn't have to do any customizing with the wheels. They snapped right back in. They happened to be the right width. So all around, this was a win for me. I didn't have to tussle with anything. So we're getting ready for the final show here, and you'll see it on the rotisserie with some lighting. There you have it. The Porsche 917LH for July 3 Blind Mice Invitational. I had a great time with this car. Just an all-around great time. So, I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. I can't wait to see everybody else's videos that are being posted and the glamour shots that may be posted. And I'm looking forward to August. Hopefully we get to have some more fun with some other choice of casting. I'm actually enjoying the hunt. Whatever they choose to go out and see if we've got it or we have to find it. So that's part of the fun too. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody that's subscribed and watches the channel. Leave me comments, leave me email, give me a thumbs up, likes, whatever you want to call it. And I will see you in the next video.